Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another RGL cast. My name is Jarrett. I'm here with Space Ghost this time around, and we are here to bring you Season 6 Invite, Week 2A, Witness Aiming versus Forward Gaming. Should be a very nice treat to watch early on in the season. Both teams don't have too much to their name in terms of matches played, so it's definitely going to be really important for both these, what we assume to be playoff contending teams, to try to collect a win tonight. Space Ghost, how you doing? How you feeling about this matchup?
I'm feeling pretty good about myself and this matchup. We're on good old Snake Water here, and I think this is going to be should be a real good matchup. We have I'd say two of the better teams in Invite here playing against each other, which is always very exciting to watch.
Yep, for sure. I think before we go any further, it's probably important to go over the rosters a little bit. Things have changed a little bit. You see a team name, you're not really sure who the players on it exactly are. So I'll go ahead and go over the Witness Gaming roster. 4 out of the 6 previous GCI Grand finalists on this team. Just a little bit of a sponsor and name change. We have Yite and Brand Slam on Scout, Laz and Ash on Soldier, Artist on Demo, and Guy on Medic.
And on Forward Gaming, we have Howard on Flank Scout, Sandblast on Pocket Scout, Soapy Meister on Roamer, Alpha on Pocket, Logan on Demo, and Seeds on Medic from Europe.
Yeah, a lot of talent in both these rosters, so it should be pretty exciting to watch. A couple, change-ups from GCI's roster transitioning into Witness Game, and they have Guy on Medic now and Artist on Demo. Guy, previous grand finalist, so definitely fits right in. Artist, definitely an up-and-comer, though. I think it's his first invite season, was previously playing in advance and jumping straight into a team that has, a lot of ambition and goals that they were trying to achieve, so it's definitely a very tall task, but I'm sure they think he can handle. Otherwise, they wouldn't have picked him up. But on the side of Forward Gaming, a lot of talent there too. Do you see anything a little bit unusual in terms of the roster there, Space Ghost? One that doesn't necessarily you wouldn't expect to see.
I think Alpha on Pocket is definitely a new one. Like, Alpha's played a lot of classes over the years, and I think previously I believe he'd been playing Scout, so I think this is his first time in a while he's like really main Soldier.
This is true. One thing to bring importance to is there's a little bit of a, I don't want to say infiltration because that can be like a negative connotation sometimes. We have Seeds playing Medic, not an NA player, going to be kicking it with like 90 ping or something. So it's going to be a little bit difficult, but Seeds definitely has a lot of talent, a lot of tenure in ETF12, and it definitely is a nice pickup for them to be playing with. I think Sandblast is pretty happy with the Medic he's playing with this season. So it should be really exciting to see how the combo works. It's always really interesting to see the dynamic of Sandblast and whatever Medic he's playing with. So definitely this one is included in that as well.
Yeah, that Europe to NA playing is pretty rough because the match time is like 4 in the morning. You have 100 ping. It can get rough, but I think Seeds so far has been doing very well for himself. So I'm excited to see Seeds. I think he's gonna do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, so far it seems like he's done a good enough job. So I guess the big thing though is when you have two teams that are pretty close in skill level, every little thing comes down to the wire. You want to take every single advantage that you can possibly have to try to take the victory at the end of the day. And little things like ping and stuff like that can be bothersome in 1 or 2 fights, and those 1 or 2 fights could make or break whether a round that could have won you the game went your way or not. So it's definitely something important to think about, but it's not really anything they can directly control. So it's probably not something to go crazy over, as there's a lot more that will go on to decide who will end up on top tonight.
Yeah, we definitely I think one interesting thing about this match is definitely a lot of newer players, I'd say, in terms of a lot of new blood and old blood in this match. So it's definitely an interesting roster of players. I believe you previously mentioned that, but compared to last season, it's surprising how much these rosters have been changed up.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if you see an up-and-coming player that shows a lot of promise and you think that you'll be able to work something out and get something good going, I guess it kind of makes sense. Behind closed doors, you don't really see the dynamic of how these teams really form, especially because there's so much that can happen during pugging that can create dynamics between players and get people situated with each other and get people to improve at a very rapid rate during an off season to get them to where they are now. So should be interesting to watch. You can go ahead and put down match predictions for this Snakewater match if you so desire. If you have an inkling of who you think is going to win between Witness Gaming and Ford Gaming. Both these teams, unless disaster strikes, they're pretty much playoff bound. They're probably floating somewhere in the middle, give or take, but an early win definitely shows a lot of dominance early on. It helps you in a good spot to maybe snipe the first seed if you're really eager, and it has a very nice safety net to make sure you don't accidentally end up lower in the playoff race and maybe accidentally get upset by a playoff bubble team that's trying to soup their way in and take a spot. Because if they take a spot, someone's getting knocked out, and you do not want that to be you.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think these early on in the season matches, I think they're definitely sometimes undervalued in terms of playoff seedings in the future. Because it's early on in the season, people aren't really thinking of playoffs, but like this match, it could definitely have large ramifications for playoffs in the future, depending on who wins, how many rounds you get, all that kind of stuff. I think it's definitely this is going to be an important match, probably coming down towards the end of the season. Might look back on this and wish the score might have been a little different.
Yep, very, very true. Especially because you just want, you don't want to have to look back at all your losses and be like, oh, we could have won that one. Oh, we could have won that one too. It's just nice to just have the win early on, get yourself the safety net, and focus on the larger picture at hand rather than, having to focus like, oh, we need to win the next match during week 7. Like, no, you can just kind of ride and focus on playoffs at a much faster rate than some of the other teams if you're able to get some really nice wins early on. So definitely still important for them, despite them being, I think most people kind of assume that they're going to land somewhere in playoffs for the playoff race, but like I said, disaster may strike. You never know what might go wrong, and what works on paper might not work in actuality, and we're definitely going to see that tonight. Seems like people are kind of thinking that Witness Game is pulling ahead a little bit in terms of the predictions that we have right now. I guess it makes sense. There's many grand finalist players, especially from last season, on this Witness Gaming roster. So if you think about it, it kind of makes sense that they would be the favorites, at least for chat. Space Ghost, what do you think about the predictions yourself? What do you think is going to happen in this match in terms of score and just generally how it's going to play out?
I think I'd have to say, I think that Witness Gaming, you could say there, if I would say that this Ford Gaming would be the underdog. I think chat definitely agrees there. I think this should be back and forth. Both these teams are pretty capable, but I think the most likely scenario is, in the end, I think Witness Gaming should pull this one out. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ford was able to throw some surprises their way.
That's very true. I'm expecting a little bit of back and forth as well, because they should be relatively close, unless one of these teams has Snakewater on lock, just to win mid, straight to last, collect the point, back and forth over and over and over again. I wouldn't be surprised just see a little bit of a slower gameplay or just back and forth scoring wise in that regard. Although you never know. It could, like I said, if a team just has mid on lock, there's not a whole lot you can do. You can get clean swept 3-0 into the halftime, and sure, you have the halftime to figure things out, but that's a very large deficit to work back from. So early on, it's definitely going to be very important for both teams to set the pace for the match, but ultimately, I think I'm in somewhat of the same boat as you and the rest of the chat, where Ford are definitely the underdogs, trying to take on a lot of previous grand finalist players, and it's a tall task, but not one that's necessarily impossible.
Yeah, I'm looking at Seeds' ping. Seeds actually has only 90-ish ping, which isn't that bad from Europe to America. So that's actually pretty good. Not rocking the triple-digit ping over here is always a good thing to see.
Yeah, definitely doable, because arrows are really strong, and the burst healing is very important in a lot of fights, and just the general healthier team. So it can be really rough if every single arrow has to be someone standing still. You can't do any serious clutch arrows because you have 140 ping. So 90 is definitely somewhere I'd say is pretty acceptable to sat. So definitely keeping an eye on Seeds there. Well, we got a lot of players, a lot of talent in the server space. So what do you think when you think of, let's say post match? All right, the match is over. I tell you that, someone went ham, someone carried their team to victory. Who are the names that immediately pop up in your head when I say those words? Who has the carry potential?
For Ford, I'd say Sandblast is obviously the star player, although I wouldn't never look past any of the other players, especially I think Logan has some large potential to make some big plays here and there, do some stuff. But I will say Sandblast is definitely the star player. I think Ford kind of rides and dies, so to speak, with Sandblast. And I'll say on Witness Gaming, I think the scouts are definitely very strong on Witness Gaming. Lol guy too, especially even for a medic. Lol guy, a lot of large plays I've seen over the years from Lol guy.
Yeah, definitely for sure. It's something that doesn't really show up in logs a whole lot. You do like log analysis after a match to see like, oh, this guy went 40 and 10, that's sick, or like, oh, this guy got 400 DPM. But medic stats are kind of hard to show sometimes. There's no metric for tracking how many times you like surfed to safety or how many times you got bombed, but milked and didn't have your Uber force. So it's definitely something that medics can be unsung heroes sometimes. So definitely important to keep an eye on both these medics as they both have a pretty good survivability, I'd say. So it might be a little bit hard to kill them, have to do a couple of different plays to try to get something good going for your team. I would definitely agree though on the scout train in terms of the players that you definitely want to keep an eye out for and who would carry their team to victory if it wasn't like a complete combined effort in some moments. I definitely say Sandblast has that potential to just put in moments just like I'm taking a 4K right now, putting the team on my back for a couple points and then smooth sailing to collect around there. And at the same time, Yai also has the potential to do a lot of flank plays to be able to salvage some moments that aren't going good for his team. So even if you find a hole in his crew, he's able to immediately patch it up with some kills of his own, just making the play, finding the success and just mitigating the entire thing that you look for to collect to begin to push points. So definitely going to be a lot of stress on the scout players, especially because Snakewater can be a really snowbally map. If your scouts don't do well, then all of a sudden, the soldiers don't feel like that they can bomb because there's, well, in a way that your own soldiers can't feel like they can bomb because they don't feel like they're going to have any follow-up from your scouts because they're too weak. And if the soldiers aren't bombing, there's no space made for your demo, and all of a sudden it's just a disaster. So a lot of it coming down to the scouts. So I think it's very fitting that the scouts are the star players, at least in the past, for both these teams.
Yeah, I think one thing to note is that the soldiers, I would say the soldiers in Witness Game are more, I guess, quote unquote, established. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup to see how the soldiers do on Witness Gaming versus the soldiers of Ford. Because the soldiers of Ford, they're no slouch, but I think that Laz has been top invite for a long time. So is Ash. Whereas I think Alpha's been around for a very long time too, but not traditionally thought of as a soldier main. And Soapy's newer on the scene, I'd say. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup to see how the soldiers perform. So we do have 12 in the server, but it not quite live yet. We're waiting on I don't know who we're waiting on. Looks like we're waiting on Ford, but we should have the ready up here soon. I think another thing to note on this map is other than the mids, I think the mid to last snowballs are definitely going to be pretty important this match. Be there, Jarrett? Ah, unlucky. Looks like we're casting solo for now. One thing we'll know, I don't know if the RGL cast has this on, but we've had some engineer shenanigans in the pregame. Here they say, looks like everyone's DMing. I don't see anyone AFK.
All right, after some weird internet issues, it appears I am back. That was
There
scary.
we go. I
But it
was
should be okay.
lost and distressed without you.
I'm loading back into the server right now. That was pretty bad timing, but usually that only happens like once if it happens at all. So
It's better
good
to get
news
it.
though. Yeah,
Better
good
to get it out of the way early.
Yep, I guess it's a blessing in disguise that it's it's taken them a bit for them to ready up, but I'm sure it's not going to be too much longer till we get the game underway. I think we're just waiting on Sandblast, and then it should be good to go.
Oh, that's what we're waiting on. I was seeing some engineer shenanigans. I see Seeds, and I believe that is I believe that's Alpha. They're sitting on their own second, trying not to get farmed in the DM.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Alpha play, because in the past couple seasons, he's been doing a pretty good job at Scout. He's actually been, for a lot of the teams he's, like, last 2 seasons, he's been more of the star player and the salvager and the one that, it's popping off. But different class might be a little bit more difficult for him to do the same types of plays. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how he adapts and his role into this team, because, I don't know if he's exactly going to be like the the MVP this time around, so he might have to shift a little bit in terms of his play style.
Yeah, I think Snakewater's one of the, I wouldn't say harder soldier maps, but Snakewater could definitely, like, there's a lot of open ground that you have to cover, and the scouts can kind of get on most of the high ground. So it's definitely one of those maps on soldier where if you're not playing really, 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 really clean, there's a very good chance you just get absolutely farmed by scouts the entire game.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to play really baity. If you commit, you just die and don't really get anything. And that's where the snowball thing kind of comes into play as well. Because if your soldiers aren't doing anything, then the rest of your team's gonna suffer for it as well.
Oh, looks like we do have the radio up.
Let's go! Alright, we are going live into another casted match this season. Witness Gaming versus Ford Gaming. Should be really interesting to see what happens in this first mid. Both teams rolling out, and gonna definitely be interesting to see the pace in which both these teams play. Demos arriving, doing a little bit of spam, trying to get some early damage on the other team. Not a whole lot, nothing to write home about, nothing an arrow won't solve as the team set themselves up for a play. Seems like a fake bomb coming from Laz, getting a little bit of damage, but actually Rocket's not quite hitting the mark, so it's just a little bit of a distraction play. Ford, unresolved, will not move off of that fake bomb. They know Laz a little bit too well, but it's Brand Slam that is going to fall in this top left, so one player advantage coming for Ford Gaming, trying to work a little bit. Howard getting a little aggressive, same with Alpha, applying some pressure, but Witness Gaming definitely make the smart move to just get out of dodge and go to 2 and cut their losses.
Yeah, that was a very smart play to back up, and we're going to see some aggression from Ford Gaming right now. It's all streaming in through lower. Kind of taking space right now, not as much. Oh, big ball from Soapy, though, does not quite get Wall Guy. It looks like we're going to see some regression from Witness Gaming right here.
Oh, Howard, he got stuffed up into the air and couldn't move. So that's another pick. Yite falling as well. It seems like a little bit of scuffle is going to end up in a 2v2 trade that will ultimately not find anything. I think Ford Gaming knows that the respawners would not favor them if they continue this fight any longer. Laz is already here, and they definitely did not want to have to deal with that 5v4. So smart move for them. Go ahead and backing up, resetting things at mid, and it looks like we're gonna, finally reach our first stalemate. Didn't take too long, but I guess it kind of makes sense. Both teams have the Uber setting up themselves in a way to Witness Gaming trying to prevent themselves being forced, and Ford Gaming breaking their hold. It seems like they want to go through lower. The leaving saw a little bit empty. They have a soldier in it. Not really sure if he's going to be bombing in or staying in, but Zamblast taking a little bit of damage, trying to get some information. Logan getting a little bit aggressive as well.
Soapy.
Oh, he's going in really deep, trying to find his way into Lol Guy. One rocket and lands on his head, but the second rocket doesn't go out. What could have been a really nice force. Koopa stomping that medic does not find anything, but Alpha getting collected from a sack coming in from Laz, so no soldier spam for the side of Ford Gaming. That's going to let Witness Gaming poke the doors a little bit. We have scouts from Saw going in as well, and a soldier bomb from Ash, creating tons and tons of space. There's so many players on the side of Ford that are passive that Howard's going to get left out to dry. A little bit of a 1v1 between the scouts on the other side of the stab, but there's so much space for Witness Gaming to work the way in. Ubers haven't even been used yet, but Sandblast going in. He's had enough of this. Takes down Brainslam. Has not even used the Uber yet, but I know he wants to. He's towing the line. He's chasing the devil. He collects Artist and is almost going to force Low Guy. Low Guy's getting a little bit low. Ash trying to help out. Sandblast down to red HP is going to get cleaned up. The last crucial shots just missed, and what could have been an amazing play is only a pretty decent one. At the end of the day, salvage a lot though. Bomb coming in from one of the soldiers. Lol Guy still not using. Soldier gets cleaned up. A lot of damage on Ash though. Have to play safe and slow because so many players on Witness Gaming are weak. Last, he's in the thick of it, getting behind Alpha, but Alpha is going to clean him up. So after all that, it's still relatively a stalemate, just a little bit more of a spammy and exciting one.
Yeah, this has been really back and forth so far. Sometimes they were going for a more like poking and prodding approach, and it looks like here's another bomb from Alpha going in. Nice early rocket on Wolguy, but cannot quite the second rocket off. Very good bombs from Wolguy, or not bombs, very good dodging from Wolguy right now. He's playing out of his mind.
He's had so much pressure put on him in the last 2 minutes, and he's not, wavered at all in his resolve. Like, he's definitely held on to this longer than you would think an average, invite medic would. Eventually push come to shove. You're playing against other really talented players, but another 1-for-1 trade. You see Brainslam getting a little bit aggressive, trying to apply some pressure, but will ultimately cut his losses and not go for anything else too much. But Alpha on Sniper, he's tired of the things that, the way that things have been for now, but a lot of Saw aggression. You have to be careful. Gotta make sure you're holding your doors, but at the end of the day, Ford Gaming will hold on to their Saw room doors in the mid a little bit longer, and Alpha taking a position, trying to find an angle. I'm not sure if they've actually seen him quite yet, but it's only a matter of time before they eventually see the dot or he attempts to take a shot. The question is will his first shot nail someone, or will this just be a warning of what might be coming? Peeking lower a little bit, not really seeing a whole lot, but I think they are aware of his presence now. He has shown himself, and they've seen him through the fence. So Witness Gaming able to adjust just the slightest bit, knowing that there is a sniper on the field. Make sure you don't peek anything unnecessarily. Alpha takes a shot, but not really anything too much. I don't think that's going to cause a push. Not a whole lot of damage. I think the shot just flat out missed. So yikes. Getting a little bit aggressive, trying to toe the line and make sure that he can get some sort of play going while there's a sniper, but ends up accidentally just basically feeding by himself. So one player advantage is going to allow Sandblast to go straight into grass to try to buy space for Alpha to get really deep himself. A nice pipe onto Sandblast, and Alpha
Look at the
eating
space
that
they
spam. They got so much space, but it's just taken all back with that one pipe, slowing down a little bit, just enough for Yike to spawn, but they're still going really deep here. Alpha's
Big
just in the
bomb
thick
from
of it.
Laz.
Yeah, he's going in, trying to get some damage on Alpha, and this collapses and taking so much damage. Only one kill so far. Seeds it does eventually use because of the oncoming damage, but there are no scouts. They have no scout speed to run and chase the little guy down, so they do not even bother. So with that said and done, Little Guy and friends work their way into what is relatively a free mid, maybe even catching a soldier on the side of Saw, but no, he will escape, and it's Alpha who is dying in kitchen.
I think considering the circumstance, getting out to second and not getting completely owned there was probably one of the best case scenarios, because that was a rough situation if you don't have scout speed to get your medic out. They're lucky they only lost Alpha. It looks like Witness Gaming is just going to stroll into 2 here. They're taking up positions. I'm curious to see how they're going to approach this push. Looks like they're going through lower, straight through lower, right into Ford Gaming. Big ball from Artist. Look at the point time too. Wow.
There was no setup. I guess they were just really banking on Soapy being able to get that force, but he actually died like in cheese or something like that, so couldn't even do anything. Went straight through lower. There was no setup on last because they literally just got there. Definitely a very smart heads-up play to be able to collect the first round on the board for Witness Gaming. But everything's reset. Going back to the mid-fight to see how things are going to pan out. Last time we saw a really early Brand Slam death, leading Witness Gaming to depart mid early. Curious to see if the same will happen this time around. Spam going across the point. Zambas getting super aggressive. He's on the point itself, not really taking a whole lot of damage though, or dealing it, so a little bit of distraction. Laz bombing in, just another fake bomb, not really committing, but getting some saves for his team. Scouts trying to take some up high ground, but Ash committing just a little bit, not too much deeper though. Soldiers taking turns, taking the log, doing a little bit of spam and backing off the Sandblast. It's continuing to be the scout that is getting very, very aggressive to try to collect whatever kill he can. He is actually going to collect Artist, so going down for the side of Witness Gaming is not a thing that you want to happen if you are a Witness Gaming fan. And once again, one pick, they're out of there. And with the Demo Man this time around, it definitely makes sense, but it also makes sense that Ford Gaming are pushing off that pick.
Ford is playing these like little poke and prod spam fights masterfully. Looks like we're having a big bomb from Ash, I believe, going in. Red gets forced here. Lol Guy still has full Uber, has not used it yet. This is disastrous for Red. They're gonna be backing up the mid here, getting their defense ready.
Yeah, Sandblast died, and they used that opening to go ahead and bomb while Howard was not in position to stop that. So very good damage onto the Demo Man to get that force from the side of Seeds. So Logai, full Uber, like you said, working the way in. A little bit weak, but should be able to work their way to pack and be a-okay to try to milk this through and potentially maybe even get mid for free. Seeing how things go. Howard pushing through kitchen with his soldier partner.
Right,
yeah, trying to make some play.
Behind.
It's a bit of a distraction chasing 2 players, but he's got a soldier hot on their tails. Soapy is trying to help with that soldier last, able to collect that, so this play behind is going to lead to something fruitful at the end of the day. Soldier bombing in, Alpha trying to get some damage onto Branson, will eventually die though, was not quite in sync with his team, and Soapy will die on the back lines as well. So at the end of the day, all this has really done is buy time, but time is in their favor. They have gotten their Uber now, definitely holding this with a 1-player disadvantage, and Uber exchange immediately coming out. Brand Slam and friends are, trying to poke their way in the mid. Have to be careful that if they win this, it has to be right now before the red team respawners come in. Definitely trying to work their way in, get to the kill on the Sandbox is very beneficial, but the damage from Logan onto their team, collecting Alpha as well, not really a nice spot you want to land as a soldier player, and it seems like they've won this fast enough that the Ford Gaming respawners are unable to help.
That was a masterful post fight from Witness Gaming there. It looks like they're going to be taking right in, just streaming in through Saw. They're just walking through the door. Laz an early kill here, but looks like they're still making space even though they lost their soldier. Big ball from Ash in, and he
those rockets.
gets Seeds.
Those were clean directs.
Yeah, it looks like Witness Gaming are going to be backing up here. You don't want to push too aggressively right after you get the medic. They're going to be sacking for you, doing stuff. Looks like they're going to take this very methodically.
Logan trying to get out, but Yite is hot on his tails. He overstays his welcome. Just a little bit too greedy, or maybe he thought his team was with him. Might be a communication issue, not sure, but either way, that is a Dillman dead. And Logai has his Uber already. They could go right now. Ash isn't too much longer till he gets there. You don't really need soldiers for your Uber. You know that when you push right now, there are no stickies on any of the doors, but Brand Slam trying to peek a little bit to see what's what, end up getting shot dead. So that is one scout down for their Uber push. Immediately going through Shutter, Yite on the Uber this time, going to the point in the corner. Sentry goes down, trying to sticky their team off, getting the soldier kills. One down, other one very weak. A lot of damage for the side of Witness Gaming onto the red players, and that seems like that is all. I almost cast a curse at this. I was gonna say that's all she wrote, but then again, it seems like the play at the end of the day is going to be enough. Branson's still in. Oh, he's just chatting in.
There's
he
no
had
way.
a buck and he won this fight. I just double caster cursed that. I just double caster cursed that. He pulled up at the end of the day. It's like, nah, I win this. Or maybe most of the time I don't, but this time I will. And he did. He showed up, and that is a round collected.
That was one of the most Chad plays I have ever seen in TF2. The man just took the unbuffed scout versus the fully buffed scout and medic and won it, and just won the game single-handedly. Looks like we're going to be starting off another mid here. That's not a good sign if you're a Forward Gaming fan.
Yep, definitely want to collect some rounds on the board if you're a fan of Forward Gaming, but still in the first half, there's still time on the clock to play, and it seems like a very aggressive play from Witness Gaming. Double bomb and Soldier collecting Logan, landing on top of the rest of the team, and there seems to be a collapse that is happening in lower, but Cease is already being collected. It's just Howard and Soapy left alive, one in kitchen and one in saw. Brain Sam hot on Soapy's tail, getting a little bit of damage, but he is going to play. The patch is a little bit longer, Howard waiting until Soapy is ready to go, but it seemed like the timing is going to be there. Soapy getting out of there, going to his own last, cutting his losses. Howard still in the thick of it, at least somewhat might get cut off in a way, and it seems like that is going to be the case, at least for now. Tries to test his luck, but Artist has his number, and that is a late death. Will be relatively inconsequential, though, because Sandblast, well, I guess Sandblast on Sniper is a big deal, because, you know, Sniper can be huge, but it seems like there's going to be a scout for this upcoming Uber push.
Yeah, the one thing about pushing second, though, is that second is a very big point here, and if WG does not know about the sniper until it's too late, it can be very disastrous. They have spotted Sandblast, and now he's getting bombed. Looks like Forward Gaming is going to be backing up here at a lobby. Just, you know, I guess they had no plans to hold second in the first place. Just take a shot, back up. I can understand it. Witness Gaming, looks like they're going to be going either lower or right here. They're already in lobby, and they're already used through lower.
Yep, going straight in, same thing as last time, and Logan caught out once again. It seems the pace that they are playing is too much for an unset-up Forward Gaming. Their backwards transitions out of lobby seem to be just a tad too slow. It's the second time that we've seen them exit there too, just to immediately get punished on their own last because they don't have a setup, and that is going to be, at least for now, a 3-0 clean sweep for this half.
Yeah, definitely a little closer than I'd say the stats would indicate. Definitely not a super roll, but still, that was very, very methodical from Witness Gaming, I'd say. I'd say all their pushes, they were so good at pushing any little advantage they got. They would just push it basically through multiple points into last.
We have the stats on the screen right now. Both demos for both teams putting out a lot of damage, which definitely makes sense because, it's definitely a normal thing to be able to have like a decent game as demo, even if your team's not necessarily winning. So, big difference though is Artist is definitely collecting kills and not dying too much, while Logan, not a whole lot of people on Witness Gaming are dying, so doesn't really get one himself. So, a bit unfortunate. Unfortunate stat lines all around because of the pace in which this was played a little bit. We had, a soldier on both teams in a little bit of a sad zone in the under 200 DPM club, but at the end of the day, it's like you said, sometimes the way the game goes, the stats don't really tell the whole story of what happened. And I would say that this is definitely one of those logs.
Yeah, it's funny, even before you said the word sad zone, I was thinking to myself, looking almost all the soldier stat lines, I was like, wow, all these soldiers are not having a good time in the good old kill death ratio, but, again, especially on Snakewater, I don't think your KD matters super much on Soldier. You're primarily there, make space, do all kinds of things, and I'd say a lot of the soldiers have had very large plays here.
Yeah, it's definitely true. We've definitely seen a lot of space creation to allow people to actually go forward and collect kills based on, for example, we've seen in a lot of the mids, Laz's staple right now is just doing fake bombs where jumps in a little bit, he threatens someone positioning with a rocket to make them dodge a certain way, and that gives one of his own teammates, an opening to maybe push the top or the bottom of the point just to get a little bit more aggressive. And that's actually net kills a couple times. I think, one time there or two, they were able to run forward and immediately grab a kill. But at the end of the day, it seems like Ford, still in it a little bit when it comes to the mid-fights. They've won some themselves, but definitely need to put some rounds on the board. Kind of curious in what they talked about in the halftime, but we're going to see if anything changes right now as we're going into the second half of Witness Gaming versus Ford Gaming. And here we go. Sticky's immediately going across the mid, trying to put out some extra damage as the rest of the team arrives and sets up in their designated spots. Sandbass getting a little bit aggressive, challenging him a little bit, not too much damage either way. Gonna see another fake bomb from Last Staple at this point, taking a lot of spam though, gonna get arrowed up to make sure we continue in this fight. It seems like the blue team is trying to show a little bit of dominance when it comes to the high ground control. The red team is still there. Actually, Howard is taking his turn getting some high ground and trying to pressure a little bit, trying to apply some spam, but no one is really extremely weak. Both teams do not want to commit too hard. They definitely are playing very carefully to find the correct opening to go in. Ash bombing in, laying on their shoulder. A lot of weak players this side is getting chased a little bit. Last falling down, same with Alpha, and Artist falling down as well, so no Delman for that side, but we've actually been in the mid for long enough that Seeds gets forced, and this is going to wipe so many players from the side of Witness Gaming. Lolguy recognizes that there is no way that he is going to be able to have a decent Uber exchange. He is already gone. So actually, I think that might have even been the play. He might have called just sack, and I'll run away with my Uber, maybe.
Yeah, that's a pretty good play considering Forward Gaming has kind of had the upper hand on a lot of these mids. They've just been kind of winning these very slow kind of spam back and forth battles. They've been very good at those kinds of mids, so that makes sense that, they have full Uber for last and even Uber advantage to push out if they really want to. And it looks like that's what they're about to do. They're just upper lobby. We're about to see Seeds is at 75%, so they gotta do something that's super fast.
Artist tried to jump but got stuffed a little bit by a rocket or a sticky or something, so we really went nowhere with his Uber, so a bit unfortunate. Able to get Howard though is last. That is a pick. It doesn't mean that there's going to be a little hole when Sandblast and friends try to push through, and it seems like they're trying to work their way Saw right off the bat. They have the Uber ready to go. Have to be mindful of the spam. Laz is in a position with Yite to be able to do something on the back lines, and it seems that is somewhat the play. Sandblast rotating a little bit to try to apply some pressure, chasing down Yite, able to collect that kill. It's going to, pause the Uber for a moment, but Sandblast is going to eventually fall for that one. 1v1 versus Soapy and Laz. Soapy's going to come out on top of that. So Witness Gaming, their play, it bought them a little bit of time, but at the end of the day, not enough time to allow them to continue to exist on 2 here, as Forward Gaming are able to take 2 and maybe even poke it around through lower, depending.
Yeah, they sacrificed basically 2 Ubers for, the time to get enough time for Uber for last, which I think that's a fair trade, They tried, they delayed things. Also, looks like Red is starting to poke into lobby here. I believe Ubers are even, so we should see possibly some very sad sacks going on, but we'll see. Howard's already in, he's just in.
Yep, trying to go for the 2-man. He ran straight through a sticky trap, but did not get dead on, so got a little bit further than you would initially expect. But Lolguy completely in spawn. The only kill they can get there is Yite countersack, at least a little bit coming from Laz, applying a lot of pressure to Logan. Logan unable to hold the doors as efficiently until he gets a little bit more health, and it's not going to be too much, though. I don't think Ash really wanted to commit out too far, especially because one of their own players died. So, Witness Gaming's last one was tested a little bit. These players got pretty deep, but now it seems like they're actually fully set up for the long haul. They got the gun moved in the right position. They got the sniper set up, watching a lot of the angles, and it's going to be tough for Ford Gaming to push through here and collect some rounds. Not rounds, but kills.
Yeah, it looks like we're at the Yet on defensive sniper, trying to just bully them out of lobby. Don't let Ford just take all the space in lobby. Looks like I have 2 soldiers in lobby, too. Laz is going in, taking a fight with Howard. He's going to back up, preserve his life. Very smart play. I think Ford's going to probably try to slow it down here. They can't, that first half I'd say was pretty fast. So I think a general trend is when one of those halves happens, the next thing you see is kind of a slow run. And I feel like Ford's going to try to slow it down, see if that pace helps. Alpha's trying to bomb.
I think they're trying to do a pogo or something. I feel like they're in a 2-man, and then when they realize they have to spam down a gun, they're just going to say screw it and bring up a sniper of their own. That definitely feels like them, but at the end of the day, who knows? And with Alpha going down, that's immediately one of the potential 2-men that was going to happen. So I would say Alpha's the prime person to be playing sniper.
I'd be willing to bet money that Alpha comes up on sniper. Not a large amount, but definitely a significant amount that Alpha probably comes up sniper here.
And you would win that bet. He is on sniper. I think it's very staple. And Yite actually trying to go for a hero play as his counter-sack got actually extremely deep. That's really frightening how deep he got. You see where his sniper rifle is? It's at the end of the ramp. Sophie immediately trying to go in for a sack, but the gun is still there, so immediately shot up into the air, not able to quite find anything. Ash going for a counter sack and is able to find Seeds close enough, able to get that force, but with the gun still alive, there's no way they're able to actually get close enough to Low Guy to force the Uber. So once again, Low Guy and friends have an opportunity with full Uber to push out of last. The only threat this time, though, that's a little bit different, is the sniper that is currently on the field sitting in window.
Yeah, sniper defending Snake Quarter second is a pretty good on either side, so this is going to be a little challenging to get in here because, you know, pretty much, yeah, they have to pop immediately, and Forward Gaming sees caught a corner,
the juggle! He's 15 HP! He's barely getting out, he's getting out through kitchen, and that was almost disastrous, just getting out by the skin of his teeth. But at the end of the day, only Howard falling once again, and the sniper lives. So something to keep in mind, you know, the sniper is going to be a factor for their eventual push. It's slightly weakened flank, you know, but a little bit stronger sightlines if you're deciding to play passive. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see either one or two things. Witness Gaming going all out, really aggressive flank play, try to get some kills like last time, or just getting the hell out of dodge. And it seems like a soldier bomb, at least for now, is going to be the play. Maybe, you know, fake bombs, but no. Yite and Laz
are making space in Saw. Laz and Yite are both behind in Saw. They're both behind now. I'm curious to see what they do with this. Alpha still looking forward, gets a pick on Ash, so it looks like Red gets second right away. This might be disastrous for Witness Gaming. They're just strolling through lower.
Yeah, even Ubers though. Uber gets force. Seed does have to pop in lower. Alpha is going to fall left alone, and they're trying to chase down Lance who got the force. They are going to be successful in that endeavor. Yeah, a little bit caught out. Team not quite with him, so he is going to die as well. So at the end of the day, 2 for 4 points. It's not... It's all right, I guess. They have their Uber, and they got Alpha at least, which is something. It's going to be difficult. Like, you can't 6v4 this off Uber to try to force them. A little bit of a rough situation to be in. Sandblast trying to poke around and see if he has any opportunities, but he will not find any at all. The team is playing very safe and very passive up until now, where they have their team all up and getting ready to once again push out of last through, I would assume, just a demo bomb through bats once again.
Yeah, we've been seeing a couple of leapfrogs back and forth here. Sandblast looks like he's in the spot. We'll see if he gets the back cap.
Yeah,
I don't think they're checked it.
Not able to quite find anything, but yeah, they're not checking the spot. Oh, Yite checked it. He's trying to run down into lower. Gets a lot of damage on the Laz, but not quite collecting a kill. So at the end of the day, once again, Ubering through there right off the bat, only collecting a single scout kill. And it's like you said, a little bit of a leapfrog scenario where Forward Gaming are taking another chance at trying to push 2 and have it be a little bit more of a permanent, you know, result this time. Maybe try to collect around and set things up good for them. Trying to create some space through Saw. No initiation coming from the side of Witness Gaming quite yet.
Laz are behind again. Both of them.
They're making another play. They're not really trying to go for a force per se. Taking 2 separate 1v1s, actually turning a little bit into 3v2s as Yite is going to collect, and it's just Laz going behind. It seems like they've kind of learned from the pattern they bought a lot of time. The question is Sandblast going to still try to use this Uber despite Low Guy being 99? They're jumping in immediately with both their scout and their demo. Logan has to be careful. He's getting body blocked.
Oh no!
Oh no! He is dead. That is a demo down for the side of Forward Gaming. Gonna be a little bit difficult to hold on to this long term, but they do have a pick that will soften the blow a little bit. Trying to push us, actually, the Sandblast immediately shot and will not continue that push anymore. I'm kind of unsure why they were pushing there. It's just a crumble right now. It was 1 kill, now it's 2 kills, and maybe even more if they stay a little bit too long. They're trying to get out into grass and make sure they can get out with the rest of their team. And Witness Gaming able to punish that little mistake to be able to take back 2, and once again, or rather than previous times, it's not going to be a leapfrog scenario.
Yeah, now we have the Sandblast on Sniper, and I will say, I guess it has evened out here, so we've gone through the leapfrog phase, and now we're into the stalemate phase, although we do have Sandblast on Sniper, so once both teams get Uber here, we probably should be expecting some probable aggressive Sandblast peaks in lower, that's what I'd say. Most likely scenario.
It's going to be interesting to see how they work this, because previously it was Alpha on Sniper, with Sandblast being the person that makes tons of space, but now I'm kind of curious to see if, with Sandblast on Sniper, who's going to be the person that's actually just in there, like, hey, shoot at me, not the sniper, because, you know, we've only really seen that as being Sandblast so far. Logan and Laura trying to do some damage, not anything different from last time. Once again, Yite and Laz are on Let's Go and screw up their flank train, but have to be careful. They are rotating back off of the call that people have entered Saw, so immediately Sandblast and friends rotating to a different door to try to see if they can have and try their luck anywhere else. Have to be careful. Artist is peeking a little bit aggressively, gets a pipe on the Sandblast, but he's not too careful. He could end up dead if the shot lands. And got a soldier on the pipe, applying some spam. Make it a little bit difficult from Sandblast to get an angle. It's just rotating a bunch of different doors to find the single angle that will find his team's success. The bomb coming in from Laz, trying to, you know, create some space and pressure for his team. But Sandbox still not able to quite find anything. It seems like, at least for now, Witness Gaming have this on lockdown, but all it takes is one mistake and one nice shot, or one nice shot from Sandblast, and things could start crumbling, and Ford could find the opening they need to break into.
Yeah, Ford is trying to, you know, just get a very methodical around, because their last push is, you know, they haven't been able to get, oh, Ash is in though, massive bomb, and Laz is already behind. This
the
is
flank
quickly
plays
turning
working.
into a disaster. Seeds has held onto his Uber.
And not only did the thing work in lower, but the flank play behind worked, and Laz is still lingering, able to collect Alpha and the 4, so a lot of success coming from there. You'd think after so many times of trying it, the Ford Gaming would be able to refine the way they were trying to break too, but at the end of the day, they're able to eventually find the success to, you know, have enough aggression to be able to get that Uber Force and get themselves off of 2. Now finding themselves on the opponent's 2, so he looks like he might be in a position to bomb if he sees an opening, but it's a little bit rough. There's a lot of positioning from the Witness Gaming players. They need to hurry up and get all the way down to last unless they want to face the same music as last time where they get pushed without any setup rate. There's an engineer, but he's barely building. They're not going to get punished through the immediate push through lower, though. It seems like it's going to be a little bit slower pace this time around. Immediately going through Shutter, able to collect an Alpha who was hiding in a corner, which is not good for the longevity of their hold. Howard falling as well, so 2 dead on the side of Ford Gaming. The Heavy's coming out, but he has no ability to get to the point. Sophie is going to fall as well, and Laz collecting that heavy frag. Only 2 left alive. The Uber is in play, but they're just popped him in the air.
Oh no, C's got body. Look, it's on the point.
Barely got onto the point in time to be able to collect Artist, but the Uber is going to fade. There are 3 there. They're a little bit of a scrappy fight, trying to collect as many players as they can, but C's the last person standing. That Uber is not going to be enough. Too many players died early on for that Uber to do more than just a Doman kill, and that is another round collected for Witness Gaming as we approach match point.
Yeah, those respawns were brutal for Ford Gaming. Shouldn't be seeing on this mid here. I'm curious if Ford, you know, they're down 4 rounds. They need to make up some time here, so I'm curious if they try a different mid, even though they have been winning the mids. We're going to see, because they need some sort of a momentum shift in this match.
Yeah, they definitely need some momentum shifts. They're able to find some decent fights, but when things start to slow down, or it doesn't really work out in their favor, and eventually things just start to go in Witness Gaming's favor, immediately double bomb onto Season Logan, able to collect those 2 players at the expense of some of their explosive classes. Ash gonna barely survive with 32 HP, but a weak Howard is trying to pressure the combo a little bit. Has to be careful. He is one of the last players left alive to make sure that they're able to find anything, but at the end of the day, it is just Soapy. Once again, in his own saw, realizes that it's a little bit too tall of a task to be able to take down Brand Slam with 185 HP, so cuts his losses, backs up to his team, and that is a Witness Gaming mid-victory.
I didn't see what Soapy was doing, but on Roamer, he somehow got 3 kills and managed to live at the end of mid, which is, like, unheard of as a Roamer of all things.
I think he was on cleanup crew, I think. I didn't see a whole lot of aggression towards Lol Guy, just like Howard at the end of there, but still, 3 kills, pretty decent.
Yeah, it looks like it's... Well, Soapy is going to bomb in here on Artist. It does kind of catch Artist a little unaware there, but it looks like Blue is going to take second here. So I'm curious what Red's going to do off of this demo pick. If they're just going to build up on the last, buy time, or they're going to go for something more aggressive. Looks like Witness Gaming is elected to taking 2 scouts into lower, just the scout train here.
Oh, they have Uber, though. Seeds does eventually pop, and the scouts are left for dead. Oh my god, that shot from Alpha! Brand Slam got shot straight into the sky and sent to the grave. That is 2 scouts in the Uber and 2 scouts dead. Laz falling as well, so just Ash and Lolguy as the sole survivors of that disaster, working their way back to mid, cut their losses, and meet the rest of their team. And that is definitely what Ford Gaming fans needed if they want to continue, you know, to be in this match. It seems like it even out a little bit. They do have a pick to work off of. Laz is not quite there yet, just spawned, rolling out to 65 for a little bit.
Oh no, they're the corner in a
all
disaster. Seeds is all alone.
The timing is off. The flank didn't come in at the exact moment they were pushing through, and that is just going to be a meat grinder through Saw to collect 3 players at the expense of only one of your own. So had a good position to be in, but a little mistake punished by Witness Gaming to set them on the back foot on their own last once again.
You can tell Ford is feeling the pressure there, because I don't think that's necessarily a normal play you would do, considering how close they were holding, but, you know, Ford down 4 rounds with only, 15 minutes left, they're definitely feeling the pressure here.
Yep, definitely trying to take every little advantage they can, especially because the pace that this game is played. Like, if it takes like 5 minutes to break a stalemate to be able to get something good for you, you definitely want to make sure that every single advantage that you have, you at least try to do something with to be able to collect enough rounds to at least send it into overtime, but did not find a whole lot of success there. Will end up on their last once again. A lot of damage on the Alpha, a little bit alone on the left side. Is going to get taken down by Brand Slam. Laz getting the gun right after through Shutter. Laz immediately set straight to the sky. He got launched by a sticky and immediately dead. A bit unfortunate of a bomb, but Ash trying to follow up on the damage that was done, but will not find anything. Both soldiers down, and Yite falling as well. So 3-man, not really finding much more than the initial
Sandblast is
alpha
already
pick they
in
got.
through Africa behind him. I don't know if Witness Gaming knows Sandblast is in.
He's so in. They get a lot of damage. Guy is able to get that for us. They did not have enough players alive to be able to spot that. So able to get Sandblast, but that is just a little bit of a consolation prize for them. That is not a good situation you want to be in. Seeds, Faux Uber able to push out when they get there. I'm assuming they're waiting for Sandblast before they actually go. They got a little bit of time. That's low guy just used. It's not. There's a lot of time before he's able to get their Uber. Laz and Yite, though, kind of interesting where they're sitting. This is definitely, this positioning where of these two screams, I'm very tempted to go into kitchen. It screams, I am very tempted to just back cap the heck out of you guys if you guys misplay this. So, gonna be curious. Alpha is in there if he peeks a little bit too aggressive. Oh, he misses a shot onto Laz, so he's going to take a lot of damage. His Uber comes in to try to chase on the enemy team, but they're behind. Oh, Yite is going to fall, though. So, a little bit of distraction, but a lot of kills are collected. Enough to, kind of put Logai and the rest of the team of Witness Gaming still in the thick of it. One player to disadvantage, but Skeeds is not quite connected with a lot of a teammates, so Sandblast is going to fall immediately. 3v3 scenario, and the respawners are in favor of Witness Gaming, able to collect Logan as well. So, seems like the play was enough of a distraction to allow their team to be able to work their way back in after the Uber, and they still have an Uber of their own, immediately trying to chariot across the point.
Big
with the scout
down.
Yeah, able to get the soldier and the scouts immediately 2 dead, and once again, there's no defense set up for Ford Gaming because they just got there. That seems to be the trend, and that is a clean 5-0 sweep for this match.
I was very impressed with Logai there, holding on to the Uber, very, very willing to, let his players eat damage, milk that Uber, and then have it just in time for last. I think Logai, if I had to choose an MVP for that match, Logai would be up there. I don't think I saw like a single misplay from him.
Can't show how many times a player did like an insane surf to victory, and definitely make sure that you have your Uber retained for your hold and able to use it at the proper moments, and that's definitely what we saw at a Logai. So many moments where you would think like, oh, is he gonna use, and just milks it, able to be successful. Got some pressure a little bit. Their team did. Ford Gaming definitely had a valiant effort, and there was a lot of back and forth. But at the end of the day, it was just not quite enough consistency to allow them to collect rounds on the board to put themselves out there more than a couple mid wins and things like that.
Yeah, it looks like Brand Slam is out here playing just living his best life on Pockets out here, going 16-2 with only 100 damage taken. So definitely big plays out of Brand Slam. Also taking top heal, so definitely rock solid on the combo. Looks like I'd say the Witness Gaming soldiers definitely on the top of the scoreboard. That's a good sign for them. Soldiers actually top in general.
Yeah, it's definitely a change from the first half where we saw the soldiers were in a bit of a sad zone.
Yeah, definitely. I will say Soapy Meister on the top. Surprisingly, I compared to the first half, I feel like the demo is definitely maybe it was just the pace of the game. It kind of slowed down. The demos couldn't get all that in-fight damage in, so I had to just spam a bunch. But yeah, looks like overall very, very solid showing from Witness Gaming. But I wouldn't I feel like Ford can keep their heads up a little bit after that. They did get 5-0'd, but it wasn't. They showed a lot of signs of life there. They just need to clean up a couple things, and I feel like that definitely wasn't a match you just kind of write off. Ooh, we do have combined logs too. Yeah, it looks like Brandslam going 24-5 overall. Definitely I'd say Brandslam and Loga are definitely my personal MVPs for Witness Gaming. They were really doing a lot of work. Well, not to discount the soldiers, It didn't show up on the scoreboard, but I think the soldiers of Witness Gaming really also had some really large plays coming in there.
Especially because it can be kind of hard because a lot of their mids they didn't really do too hot on to set a good pace for them. in the very beginning, but definitely hats off to Laz for a lot of those plays. I mean, I think most of the time that Ford were in a decent position and it got destroyed by something, it was by the flank, and it's really hard to go behind and create a lot of chaos and collect kills if your soldier is not able to be playing in shape. So definitely something very important to think about. I guess that kind of definitely hats off to Yite as well. But on the topic of soldiers, definitely
Yeah,
emphasis on last.
yeah. I'd say the flank of I guess the flanks of both teams had a couple of plays where they both were able to get behind and make large plays, but I'd say the Witness Gaming, they had a bunch of really important flank plays that some of them they looked a little sketchy at the time, but that all worked out. So hey, what do I know? The worked out in the end. I'd say the flank of Witness Gaming definitely had a very large impact on that match overall. They I wouldn't say they necessarily outplayed the flank of Ford, but they definitely had a fair amount of highlight moments.
It was repetitive sometimes too, what they were doing, especially in some of the stalemates. Like their attempts to try to break in, it would be the same like Laz and Yite pushing a certain doorway. So you'd think that eventually it'd get shut down, but they were able to find a way to slip through it and have things work eventually. So definitely turned the tides and made things end up the way that it did.
Yeah, I'd say again, big shout out to the Lol guys. I think Seeds played pretty well too, especially considering it's like 4 a.m. 90 ping. I think he did play pretty well overall. There's I didn't see any like significant misplays from them, no drops from either medic. So I think a pretty clean game from both medics overall.
True, it's always nice to see. All right, well, does not appear that we are going to be having any interviews tonight. Sometimes it goes like that, so that is pretty much going to be it from us for the most part. Space Ghost, do you have any last minute shoutouts before we sign off for the night?
Last minute shoutouts. Not particularly. I guess shout out to I know a couple of gamers on the forward. Shout out to Ford.
All right, definitely shout out to Dolphin for production work and to the viewers for hanging out and watching with us. This is a pretty exciting game to watch, even though the score wasn't too close. There were definitely a lot of back and forth moments that were definitely enjoyable, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when these two teams rematch later on in the season. But as for tonight, that is going to be it from us. Definitely keep your eyes peeled for matches casted by us tomorrow, which is Witness Gaming versus GCI, and the rest of the season. Thanks, Dolphin, for being the little voice in my ear, letting me know. So definitely tune in tomorrow, as well as the upcoming weeks for more casted matches, so you can kind of be in the know on what's happening and see how your favorite team is doing during Season 6. But that's going to be it from us. I'm Jarrett, been casting with Space Ghost, with Dolphin on production. Thank you, and good night.